Okay. All right. Okay, welcome to the Saturday seminar. I'm Pat Willard, Chair of the Douglas County Dems. We are starting pretty much on time, which is something that I learned from my predecessor, Kurt Hall. Kurt, where are you? Okay. Anyway, duly noted. I learned many things, but that was one of them. Maybe some were more substantive, but we will get on with the show. I am incredibly pleased to welcome you all today and to celebrate what was an enormously successful election in August. We have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot of people to thank. We won't be able to get to them all today, but if I miss something significant, I'm counting this very crowd to do some shout outs. So let's do that, okay? But before I say how the thank yous, I also want to say, don't forget, we got another election coming up. We got more amendments coming up. We have critically re-elections to handle. So rest for a little while, but next week let's gear up again because we got work to do. But in the meantime, let me say some of what I am grateful for. The voters across the state of Kansas who stepped up to stop the extreme amendment. I know a lot of folks have mentioned that they heard from people outside the state going, way to go, Kansas. And I think that, that is significant. I think we have emboldened other activists in other states to fight, and that we showed that fighting in what turns out to be not so red Kansas is worth doing. So thanks to all of you. I also particularly want to thank those in Douglas County, first of all, who voted, and we did, who volunteered, who knocked on doors. Raise your hand if you did any of these things. Who knocked on doors, sent postcards to voters across the state, wrote letters to the editor, made calls, texted, served as poll watchers, drivers, and callers, rallied, worked the booth at the Douglas County Fair and other tabling events. Yeah, just leave it up. And donated to help pay for all of the above. A particular shout out should go, and I think let's just take a minute to say, a particular shout out should go to the Douglas County Elections Office that ran a fair, an efficient, and a professional election and recount. We are very, very, very lucky to have such professionalism that we can count on. And that the Republican Party can count on as well. So it's fair and it's even-handed, and that's important for all of us to have faith in the system. Recognition as well. I don't always do this enough, but the Douglas County Dems have been very lucky to have some young staff members who have really made a difference this year and this summer in the election. So I'm maybe going to make them stand up, because I do what Jim Brooke tells me to do. And that is Damian Gilbert. Reagan served as our political director and is on board through November, so we're gearing up. Amy Miggs, our administrative coordinator. Also still on board, and Virginia Wright, our intern. Virginia goes back to college at the University of Chicago in September, but little bit we can find in the meantime. So they have been fantastic. The other reason I would note, so many people worked so hard on this, but Lois Ortholopes really took us over the top with being able to do the support for the election day activities. So. Our meeting today is sponsored by Jeannie and Mark Cottrell, Steve Lopes and Lois Ortholopes, Kurt and Marilyn Hall. We are grateful to these sponsors for their commitment, their generosity, and to all who donated their time, their dollars, and their commitment. Your generosity in this really matters. This year, as most of you know, we had a few vote no yard signs out there, just a few. We didn't charge for them, but we were happy to take donations, and people were very, very generous. So I think we've learned that counting on people's generosity is a great way to handle yard signs and a great way to handle democratic politics. So there you go. And we'll have more yard signs.
We'll get more yard signs for us today.
Yep. Okay. Today's meeting, Bruce Roberts and Damien Gilbert will get a brief report on the election. Needless to say, Bruce Roberts was critical to the GOTV effort, just critical. And Damien did a great job as well and brought expertise that we haven't had, so it's fabulous teamwork. We will also hear brief remarks from the candidates from the upcoming vacant District 3 County Commissioner seat. Shannon Portillo has taken a job at Arizona State University and is resigning her position in September. The selection of a replacement for Shannon will be held Sunday, August 28th, 2 p.m. at Theater Lawrence, which is located in District 3. The public is welcome to come, so family, friends, interested Democrats, anybody is welcome, or anybody that isn't a Democrat is welcome to come to the event. We ask people who are the voters in this election. The voters in this election will be those precinct committee people whose precincts are in District 3. So all of those people have received special notification. We ask that they come at 1:30 so that we can do credentialing for them, and they will sit in a separate block at the theater so that we know who the voters are and who the watchers are, but everybody is welcome to attend, and we hope people will be interested in doing so. At this point today, we have 3 candidates for that seat who are here to give brief remarks. Now, it's an interesting way to do an election because there's no formal filing process. We had some people who were interested and ultimately didn't pursue it. We've had people who have said that they are pursuing it, and we'll hear from 3 of those people today. And we have people who may be running that we don't even know about, because you can show up the day of the meeting, and if you're eligible as a Democrat who lives in District 3 and a registered voter, you can run. So this is not an exhaustive list, but it is 3 people who have indicated that they indeed are interested in this position, and we thought it would be a good idea for you to hear from them. But in the meantime, we also, I don't think we have any elected officials here today. Okay, not missing any, but we do have our own colleague, David Berkowitz, here to help with our time-honored tradition, fundraising.
Well, of course, Kansas is no longer a joke, but there is one way we could become a joke again, and that's by electing Chris Colba as Attorney General, he's probably the most ineffective attorney that still got his license. I always thought the Attorney General ought to at least know where the courthouse is. So, with that, some of you may wonder why I'm wearing that blue t-shirt. It's because to remind you that there are more than one way of giving to the party, and no way is exclusive. You can use them all. But today we're going to try your generosity and ask you to give us these things. We don't raise the bulk of the money that we need, but we do raise a significant amount each 2 years. So once again, I'd ask you to be generous with your donations, and if you can't put anything in,
don't put anything out.
thank you. Take anything out.
Okay, well, we are passing the hat. I will make a few brief remarks at the same time about upcoming events. First of all, you are all invited to the opening of the Lawrence Field Office for Governor Kelly's campaign. And Governor Kelly will be attending to open the office. That will be 4:45 to 6:15, 1919 Delaware Street. If you get our email announcements, you will have that information in there. And if you click on the link, you can also register in advance, which I think they will appreciate. But register in advance or not, you are welcome. 4:45 to 6:15, Wednesday, August 24th, and 24. Both of them. Yeah. And if you are a PCP, you stick around and then you come to the Carnegie Building at 6:30 for our Central Committee meeting, which is also very important. And the next thing that I'm going to announce, Central Committee meeting is Wednesday, August 24th, Carnegie Building, 6:30 p.m. We will have some refreshments. This is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of new precinct committee people and veteran PCPs to get to know each other, as well as we've got some business to do, and I think that's important. So one thing that we will give you a brief summary of our financial situation, a little bit of an overview on election plans, and we also need to vote on whether to hold an election at that meeting for new executive committee officers, or to delay that until after the November election. The recommendation of the executive committee, of the current executive committee, is that we delay it till after November because we've got a little bit of work to do between now and November. And in terms of sort of an orderly transition, we think we'd be better off to wait. But the Central Committee, which is made up of the precinct committee people, are the ones who have the ultimate say on that, and that say would be Wednesday.
That's right.
At 6:30. So please come. If anybody cannot attend and wants to vote by proxy, I can help them do that and can give you information on that. So it's important, we need you there. And I think one of the things I'll say about the election is that we also will have some vacancies on the executive committee that need to be filled. And some of our folks are staying. Some of our folks, including me as chair and Bruce as vice chair, are not staying. We have an open treasurer seat and a secretary seat that we know. Now, some of the people that are at large positions may look for a different position, and that's okay too. There's lots of good leadership that's there and stability that's there, but by doing this election in November, it's also time for people to say, what's involved? How can I help? Would I be a good person to do this? And hopefully some of you will want to be engaged. So, on that note, don't have to vote or anything, you just have to come. Happy hour is Monday, September 5th, which is Labor Day, 5:30 to 7 on the patio of the 23rd Street Brewery. And our next Saturday seminar is September 17th, and I think we will be back in Lawrence Arts Center in Main Building at that point in time. I'm getting a nod from staff back here, so who voted with her daughter, by the way, on the last time around, this last August. Okay, so Saturday seminar, 9/17. Tentatively, we're going to be hearing from labor union people in Douglas County. So we're working on that. We have a commitment from Matt Hall, who's very active in organizing. So we hope for that. And I know you have an interest there, so we'll talk. On that note, I am turning the program over to Bruce Roberts and Damien Young.
Thank you very much, Pat. I'd like to begin just simply adding my thanks to the 300+ volunteers that helped us this year. That made a huge difference, and it will for the fall election as well. We continue to get sign-ups pretty much every day, so that's a good thing. Special thanks to, I echo again, to Amy and to Virginia and Damien for holding down the fort, making things happen. I will add to echo also what Pat just said. We have 83 PCPs now. 21 of them were write-in successful candidates. 62 That is wonderful news. I had some concerns back in April that we wouldn't get that high, so that's wonderful. I'd like to add my thanks to the members of the GOTV steering committee, which began meeting last March bi-monthly, group of about 12 of us who worked very hard to actually take a plan and make it work. We framed our plan for getting the vote out from the Kansas Democratic Field Plan, which basically they called on us to recruit volunteers, to contact voters, both Democrats and unaffiliated voters, most of whom vote sporadically or so. And you can tell by the turnout that we had, that I think we had some great success. We're still planning on analyzing that, and I know Damien will talk about that. I also would like to acknowledge that because defeating the constitutional amendment was our key focus, we valued our partnerships with the Kansans for constitutional freedom, sometimes referred to as KFC, but it really is KCF. And Melinda Levon's photo, Kansas Pact. We began canvassing we worked well together, and the energy, the signs that Pat mentioned came from both of those organizations predominantly, and they helped us and we helped them. We had our first kind of a limited canvassing exercise in late April, led by our steering committee, and that was good. And then we actually did a kickoff of KCF on May 21st for the Douglas County canvassing kickoff for their organization. That was well, in late May, we were very pleased to hire Damien Gilbert, who, as Pat said, is our political director. He's now going to provide you with an update on our strategies, our tools, and outcomes for our GOTV effort. Damien?
Right. I'll use my voice as I did at the rock concert last night. Yeah. The next slide. Results. I don't know if you guys know this, but we won. And we did not just win, we won convincingly with a very large margin, a shocking margin. 59-41 statewide. Those aren't, we're still receiving like final numbers from counties, their later writer mail ballots and their provisional ballots. And the good news I can tell you from this map is that since the numbers have been updated, this county right here, Seward County, home of Woodville, Kansas, flipped to a no county. So there are a lot of rural counties that voted no, which is just incredible. Seward, Greenwood, Franklin, Harvey, Miami, Jefferson, Jose. That's not even mentioning the Lyon counties, other counties. That's incredible. Sort of makes a species. And that comes from all the efforts, all the passion that folks like you have. That was kind of across the state. I am happy to say that Douglas County had the largest vote no margin in the entire state, 82%, which is wild. The next closest was Wyandotte County with 74% and Johnson County 69%. We were the only county in the 80s in the whole state. In Douglas County, there was a 58.5% voter turnout rate, which is also a wild number. Jamie Shue, county clerk, said that was larger than 3 general elections since 2008. So people were active, engaged, involved, and educated on the amendment. As you guys know, that Tim Kielstein's group sent out, just a lie the day before the election, trying to confuse people into voting yes if they were pro-choice. People weren't. They did fool. We had 1 or 2 people we heard of that were fooled by it. Most people were educated and strongly opinionated enough to know that that was a lie. So that was unfortunate. Now, as for what we did as a county party, most important thing that we did is canvassing and lid dropping. These are pictures, it's kind of hard to see, but of our door hanger that we delivered to doors and to voters all across the county. We distributed 12,414 of them, both for canvassing and lid dropping. We started with canvassing, which is the traditional, way of contacting voters, knocking on doors, and trying to speak with voters one-on-one. We knocked on about 3,000 doors and actually successfully talked to about 1,000 people. That was going very slowly, and if we continued doing that, that was not going to get a lot of coverage. And so we called an audible about a month out from election day, and we started lid dropping, where we would just deliver the literature to just hang it on the door and leave and go pop another one on another door. That goes a lot faster. People are much more willing to do it because you don't have to talk to anybody. And switching to that quadrupled the number of touches that we got. So we ended up getting about 12,500 door hangers out there. And the back side is covered up by the little window there, but it showed every single way there is to vote, had all the information that the voters needed to vote by mail, vote early in person, and on election day.
They going down that hot heat.
Oh, yeah, that's, thankfully we'll be canvassing the dropping in the fall weather, so with heat, yeah, that was not easy to do. Texting, just since Roe fell in late June, the Douglas County Democratic Party has sent over 60,000 texts. We did it in waves. The first text we sent was a vote by mail, encouraging people to vote by mail, and it was tailored. It went out the weekend. Roe fell on Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, we sent out text to all of our target voters. All of these, so the canvassing, the dropping, the texting, the digital ads, all of these are targeted at the same group of people that we targeted because they are, when they vote, they vote Democrat. You can assume, but they just are not regular voters. They're not in the habit of voting in primaries, that sort of thing. So those are the exact people that we want to encourage to vote. So we sent out first text, incredible, great response. Lots of people signed up to vote by mail on ksvotes.org. They had questions for us. We were able to give them all all the information they needed. That was a great response to that one. We sent a second text on July 13th, the first day of early voting, encouraging people, telling people you can go vote right now, go do it. There was a special text that we sent out a week before Election Day to people who had received the mail ballot but hadn't returned it yet, basically just encouraging them to return that by the mail or offering to let them know the ballot drop box locations. And then our final text was just our get out and vote. It's your last chance. Tomorrow's Election Day. Go do it. And we were able to send that after fuel stamps text went out. So we were able to clarify, no, we're the Democratic Party and we're telling you to vote. No, that's the approach. So yeah, we were able to monitor and answer questions from lots of voters day before Election Day and on Election Day. That's been the whole day this week. We also did digital advertising. I think we've done some before, but not to this extent. We made almost 250,000 digital impressions through our paid Douglas County Democratic Party advertising. And again, all of those are specifically to the voters that we want to talk to. We're not blasting this out to everybody. It's just to the people that we target. And the way that we did that is that you can match IP addresses to these specific voters, so you can send them a specific message. 64% of those 227,000 impressions were video that Kathleen Zbilius was gracious enough to do for us. It's a 15-second, I'm Kathleen Zbilius, get out and vote, sort of thing. That played on streaming services. So people with smart TVs, watching their favorite show on streaming, they popped up and got a 15-second Douglas County Democratic Party Kathleen Zbilius go vote deal, which was nice. It also played in online videos, the ads you get when you click on a CNN video or something like that. And it also played on Facebook and Instagram. 36% of that 227,000 was just banner ads. So when you go out and click on a website, you see banner ads for something. We had all sorts of different kinds and sizes of those. And those were sort of, you click on the Orange Journal World article, for instance, and you were on our list, you would see those banner ads in there, examples of them on this slide. So that was our screenshot from our video. We didn't focus so much on phones, calling people. I think every cycle we go forward, it gets less and less effective to call people on the phone and people really answer their phone number they don't know, especially if it's from an area. So it's much more time and cost effective to just text. I think people just, if they get annoyed by it, text is much less. That's much less big of a deal. And also, we don't have volunteers getting yelled at on the phone. So yeah, that's the majority of the stuff that we did. We had, like Bruce said, over 300 volunteers sign up. Probably half of those helped us by canvassing and lid dropping. But we also wrote postcards, which was nice. We sent postcards to not just voters in Douglas County who didn't have any other way of contacting. If they didn't have a phone number, text, that sort of thing, they got a postcard. But our volunteers were so effective and passionate that we were able to send thousands of postcards out to Western Kansas, Democrats who otherwise would get, they didn't have an organized Democratic Party out there. We are now in Congressional District 1 with those Western Kansas counties, so we took it upon ourselves to touch those Democrats as they otherwise would. So we we still don't know, we won't know until the specific voters voted or updated in our system or database. But once that has occurred, we can actually pinpoint, the number of people that all those people that we let vote, how many of them voted, all those people who got an online ad, how many of them voted. So we're still waiting on that database update. Once we do, we'll be able to see exactly like how effective our GOTV strategy was, and obviously with our 82% margin and 58.5% voter turnout, I think those numbers will be very good. Yeah, so this was the first run for November. The results were extremely encouraging, so hopefully another result of that.
This year was a little strange. It's like having two general elections in a row. One thing that and so yes, we're a little tired sometimes, but also helps us calendarize better for what we need to do in terms of the November election. So there's some real advantages to it, including not having any momentum. But there are more to work on, so we will get to work. I should have done this earlier, but I would like to have the new precinct committee people in the room stand up. Thank you very much for stepping up. We appreciate that, and I think we have some veteran committee people in the room as well. So everybody, veterans stand up. All right. Those are our leaders going into this November election, so thank you very much. Before we get to the November election, we also have a special election here in Douglas County, as I had mentioned, for the 3rd County Commission District. And we have 3 speakers here who are going to talk and give their vision for the position and why they are motivated to be running. We worked on a highly scientific way of what order they're going to speak in, and we came up with the alphabet. So we'll do that. I have asked people to keep their comments to 3 to 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is a long time, but I will be keeping track, and I will have my red file folder that I can waive if anybody goes over the 5-minute mark. They also will be available after our meeting today, and this is the final piece of our meeting. They'll be available to talk and take individual questions from people. Someone asked me why we're not doing a forum, and it's because it's not clear that these are the only candidates for the office. So but we did feel like it was a great opportunity. Even though there may be some other people popping up at the last minute, this was a great opportunity for you to hear more from these candidates who have stepped up. So with that being said, I will introduce our first candidate and precinct committee person, Cole Brown.
Blues breakfast me, I'm not sure I'm tall. Good morning. How are y'all doing today? I decided to run for County Commission District 3 and put my name in. And the reason why I wanted to run for this position is I've been a long-time Douglas County Democrat and precinct committee person, and I got to know a lot of people, going knocking on doors, asking people what are their important issues to them. So I've been doing that, walking out in hot heat, talking to people, and how cold it was. So I don't care what kind of weather it is, that's what I'm gonna do. It's a hard work, but if I'm gonna get elected, I'm gonna put my foot down and I'm gonna get Lawrence back on track and find out what needs to be done for the county and work together also with the city people so we can all work together as a team, work with both sides and not just one. So that's why I decided to run. A lot of people told me, oh, you can't run for this, and I'm saying, no, I'm doing this because I really want to get involved in politics. And so this is how I'm doing it. So it started somewhere small. Now keeping my messages short and sweet and well to the point. And when I was out there at the fair talking to people, that made me think of running for this. Thank you. Any questions? What? No questions at all?
Well, I think we're gonna do questions after everybody's. So I think they might have some yet. Okay, thank you, Cole. Thanks, Cole. Next up is another Douglas County Democrat, Michael Jones, who's also been very active in political scene and activism here in Douglas County for a while. So she'll tell you a little bit more. Let's see.
Bonjour, my name is Michael Jones. I've been involved in politics in Douglas County since 2016 when I was a delegate to the Bernie Sanders campaign for the Democratic National Convention. I got really excited. What drew me into politics at that time, I have an environmental law and policy background, so I'm very big on environmental justice, environmental protection, environmental science, being informed to Douglas County residents. So since that, 2016, I joined the Sustainability Advisory Board, and I was on there for 4 years. I served as chair for 1 year. During that time, we were able to get a goal initiated for Lawrence for 100% renewable energy by 2035. That was when I was on the Sustainability Advisory Board, and then while I was chair, we were able to pass the Lawrence Green New Deal. So that was a big accomplishment for us. I've been involved in different things. I've volunteered on various campaigns. Very big in my community, in the Native American community, and that's where I spend a lot of my effort is informing candidates, informing people of tribal issues, the underrepresented communities, the historically excluded communities. And so, yeah, so I've been involved in that. I'm trying to think of everything I've been involved in. Oh, I founded the Native American Caucus in Kansas. We didn't have a Native American Caucus before that, so we have our first one. Yeah, I think that's it about me. Why I want to run for Douglas County Commission. I think I've been looking for a candidate that I can really support, that's really committed to environmental issues. Someone who will stand up for clean air, clean water, push us towards climate resiliency here in Lawrence. I think we have the capability of being one of the leading cities in Kansas to tackle climate change, to have laws, policies, goals towards becoming climate resilient here in Kansas. And that's, we have that capacity. And I think that we need a strong leader to do that. And so that's why I'm running for county commission, is because I want to be that candidate. I want to be the candidate that I get excited about and that will stand firm on environmental issues. I do have a grants management background, so I also have you know, a lot of different skills, budgeting, you know, bringing people together to get a project completed. Yeah, so I want to see Lawrence flourish. I think that I'm committed to the residents of Douglas County. I want to do the best that I can, leave this place better than how I came into it. So that's why I'm running for county commission.
And now we have Karen Willie, who is also a precinct committee person and has been serving in the county planning commission for a while. And here you are, Karen.
Hi, first I want to say thank you for so many of you that are the precinct people for the 3rd District who have been willing to sit down with me and spend time and talk about your issues and values. It's been a really wonderful way to kind of run a campaign, just to get a chance to sit down with people in their living rooms and such. And also just for the outreach that I've had from leaders and voters both inside and outside of the city of Lawrence, just being encouraging about having me serve in this role. So Douglas County has a lot of critical issues that are coming up soon, in addition to kind of the ongoing work that the Douglas County has committed to and needs continue to be shepherded with, which is in supportive housing, mental health, criminal justice, and local food movements. So these are programs that are started, that have been, we have a great deal of money invested in them, and they need someone to kind of take a look and make sure that we're getting our value, that parties are working together and for the greater good and the goals that we want for our community. But there are new issues that are coming down the pike that will be really critical in the next 2.5 years, which is the duration of time that this position would fill. I think in the next 2 to 4 years, Douglas County will rewrite how we do energy in Douglas County. We can make that transition in the next short period of time. We have companies that are very interested and eager to do wind development and solar development in Douglas County, but we're a little behind as a community for having the discussions of how much are we wanting to be energy exporters? Are we wanting to replace the Lawrence Energy Center? What are our real goals for green energy? And then how does the new Panasonic plant play into that too, which is expected to run entirely off of renewable energy? So how much of that is a Douglas County opportunity and obligation? And how do we work with the people who will actually host those installations, which will be in our rural areas almost exclusively? Economic development, as we take in this massive development that will come just in DeSoto, and how much of that do we want to translate into our education programs, tech, how much do they look preparing for the jobs and the housing that will be needed. In terms of housing, we were critical before, and this new development will really push the envelope, and we will need to rethink how we approach housing and be creative. So there are discussions that are just needing to have. And for that, the person that is elected next week for this position will have 2 weeks to transition into taking that role. So 2 weeks. Normally, from a November election cycle to a January taking office, the person has 2 months to learn that role. This is a really compressed cycle, so that the learning curve should be taken into consideration for that vote. Why I am uniquely prepared to step into that role, I will give a little background for where I came from. Moved a lot as a kid, and I needed some roots. So I came to Lawrence, came to KU in 1993, third generation KU, but we also had family roots here that went back to 1857, for the good and the bad. We have had along this journey here. But none of my immediate family had lived here during that time, and so since then, when I moved back at that time, parents, aunts, uncles, everybody has come back to Lawrence too, so we're pretty well connected here. I live on a small farm south of town. I have maps to show you the whole scope of District 3, which is quite large, from West Lawrence, Southwest Lawrence, and then all of the western half of Douglas County. And I think that that's important because I keep a foot in both worlds. I had many years living inside the city of Lawrence, had many years living outside the city of Lawrence in the rural areas, and there are cultural differences that need to be taken into account. To have the conversations we're going to I have a bachelor's degree in environmental studies. I have a PhD in geography. I liked the teaching and the research part of things, but I was always drawn to the field work where I was outside and doing things that were tangible and real. But that's my realm of problem solving is really what I bring to the table. I like to see through what are all the factions, who are all the stakeholders, is there a common win or a nearly common win? Can we work towards that? Problem solving has been kind of the key to my rather varied career. Mostly I've been an entrepreneur. Along with my husband, we have built affordable housing and managed that. And that's sometime in the past. And then we had a manufacturing business at home at our farm. For 5 years, we were building and manufacturing forklifts. So I've run a lot of budgets in that time. This is my 5. No way. And I work now for as a nonprofit consultant for health, housing, and human services. There are a lot of key issues that are coming up. I would love to keep talking to you about them. We have the table, and I have maps of literature for anybody who wants it. In my 5 minutes, so thank you.
Our time is up, except that our candidates have very graciously agreed to take questions and conversation. So please make a point of getting to know each of them a little bit better. But thank you to each of you